What is the one thing that no matter how you try to think of a reason why, you still can't wrap your head around it? I was 16 at the time, and for as long as I can remember I've always been scared of cockroaches and insects, so much so that any time I saw one in any part of my house I would refuse to go anywhere near that part of the house, and that was no secret to any of my family members. I had just finished for the term and had come for the holidays when I started to notice the cockroaches. Sometimes I would see them outside, at the back or around the suckaway pit. I didn't really pay it much mind since they were outside. But one night I saw two of them outside my window and I was in total shock, and I ran to tell my dad, who then went outside to kill them. I didn't sleep in my room that night but with my parents. But after that day I started noticing them more often, and it put me on high alert. So much so that if I'm in my bed and I start feeling movements around my skin I will fly into panic mode. Sometimes I would shout before I actually see that there was nothing there, but it didn't change the fact that I was not comfortable in the slightest. I started complaining to my mom about it, and her, knowing about my pure fear for it, would usually tell me it was because of the full suckaway pit at the back, and that it'd been some time since we had our last fumigation, but it didn't make me any more better. So I kept pressurizing her so that we could have another fumigation until she finally agreed. That day she scheduled a light fumigation that will happen the next day by the same man we've always used for all our past fumigation. Mr. Henry. He is a not at too old looking man, maybe in his middle 40s, but was always so kind and playful toward me. Most times if he came to work he would come with his daughter that was the same age as me, and we would talk and play till he was done. And my mom liked him too because he was super professional and got the work done quick and easy. So the next day morning he came as expected with the things he used for the fumigation. Now this part of the information will come in handy. My mum requested for a light fumigation that we wouldn't have to leave the house for, and would just work on the cockroaches and mosquitoes. She asked if it was possible. He said yes, that he has the type that doesn't smell, and he will just pour the contents into the sinks and toilets in all the rooms of the house and flush it. Then we could go ahead and wash them so as to eradicate the smell completely, exactly what my mum wanted. So on the morning of his arrival he came with all the chemicals and showed my mum which chemical was for what and how he was going to use it. While he was there my mum kept asking, hope it won't smell and hope the chemicals are harmless. He said yes and kept reassuring her that he knows his job and that they are harmless. They discussed on a price, then he got to work, went round the house pouring the contents into every sink and toilets in the house. Then we proceeded to wash them with detergent thoroughly. Fast forward to the evening when we got back home, because after he left we left to get some things we needed in the house because it was only me and my mum that were left at home. My dad's traveled and my elder brother hadn't come back from college for the holidays, and because of the holiday my mum decided to give the help a week off. We were the only ones at home. After we got back my mum kept complaining of the smell, that the chemical was still smelling around the house, and kept complaining that I didn't wash it well. I ended up washing everything all over again, but that stench still lingered. She called him one more time but he still gave her that reassurance that the chemical isn't harmful, so we ended up sleeping in the same room with the air conditioner on, which now that look back was a terrible idea. I kept waking up in the middle of the night with a headache and nausea. I finally managed to sleep around 2 a.m., but woke up again at 6 feeling awful, weak, sick, and like I was going to vomit. I managed to wake my mom up and she also complained that she was also feeling the same way. It was at that point that we realized something was really wrong. We called my dad to tell him that both of us were sick at the same time. My mom kept saying it must have been something in the chemical that was used in the house. We went to the hospital because her condition was getting worse. When we arrived, she could barely talk and was slurring her words. The doctors rushed her into a ward, put her on 4 drips, and gave her several injections while multiple staff members worked to stabilize her. A short while later, I also began feeling extremely weak and dizzy. When the doctor checked me, my blood pressure was very high. They gave me injections and prescribed medication. Meanwhile, my mom had already gone through 2 bags of 4 fluid and was on her 3rd before she could finally talk again. She managed to call the man who had provided the chemical and asked him what exactly he put in it, because she didn't believe his earlier explanation. At first, he denied everything. But after my dad also spoke with him and threatened to arrest him, he finally admitted that he had added snake poison to the chemical. He said it was a mistake and kept begging my mum to forgive him, When I heeded his confession, I was in utterly disbelief because that substance is very dangerous, so much so that people leave their homes for several days after using it. This explained why my mom and I became so ill, especially since we had slept inside the house with the air conditioning on, which made the exposure worse. The man kept apologizing, but my dad warned him that once he returned to town, he would be arrested and taken to court. After being discharged, my mom and I left the house together and went back only after my dad had come back. Although my parents didn't pursue any legal charges, I still don't understand why he added snake poison to the chemical, when we never asked for it, and definitely didn't pay for it. And he always seemed like a kind person. Till today it remains a mystery to me. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, kindly press the subscribe button, like and share. Thanks.